Hi, my name is Guillermo Lopez, and my research question is how to improve a student's performance throughout the application of educational recommendation, bridging the gap between diagnostician recommendation, teacher, and parents.
Hi, my name is Laura Alcala, and I am a retired school teacher. Have 27 years of counseling experience, and I volunteer at Pebble Hills Elementary and Hanks High School. One of the things that I see between the curriculums and the language from the teachers to the recommendations to the parents is there's a big gap, and it needs to be addressed. Um, a lot of the times, I really feel that the way that the language is written, it's not going directly into the parents, the simple language, if I'm making a little bit of sense. It needs to be a lot more simpler so that parents can grasp what the school wants or the recommendations that they want the parents to follow, and also for the teachers.
Perfect.
That one of the other points of view that I see is right now that the STAR tests are going on with the school system. I feel that I honestly feel that it's a little bit unfair for the students because they have to be trained to take those tests. A lot of the material that is covered on the STAR test is not really being taught in the classroom. So they take like around 8 weeks to train the kids how to take those tests. So also they need to address that so that they can become successful on the STAR test. And it's the language.
I'm Teresa Gomez. I'm a speech therapist. And usually, in response to the question, how do we help teachers carry through with recommendations? What I do is I go into the classroom and I model for the teacher how I feel that how the activities or the recommendations should be implemented to help the student. And I'm there and I sit with them so if they have any questions, we can work it out together, or the child can benefit from both of us working with him at the same time.
Okay.
If I make a recommendation that I want to be carried out in the classroom, what I'll usually do is go into the classroom and work with the student and the teacher present and explain and model what the recommendation is. And if they have any questions, they can ask right then and there, and they can see how it helps the child, or how they can implement it in their classroom without difficulty. And I go in weekly to model for them exactly what I think is best for the child to help him with his disability.
My name is Maria Elena Sherman. I'm a retired teacher, administrator, 2 years principal, and working with different children of different ages, different levels, some disturbed emotional problems, some with other psychological problems. But I find that there is a gap between what a diagnostician says is a problem or the learning situation in the classroom and as an individual student, and the teacher's implementation of that diagnostician's recommendation. The main problem that I see, and as I see it, is that the diagnostician does not speak on the level of the parents, and sometimes even of the teacher. The teacher does not interpret correctly what the diagnostician said, and when it gets to the parent, it is watered down and misunderstood. We have a lot of parents who cannot understand the language, the vocabulary of the diagnostician. The diagnostician has to present his diagnosis, analysis, whatever you want to call it, in layman's terms. In other words, in terms that the parents will understand. And sometimes the educational level of the parents needs complete definition, explanation And then even questioning the parents. Do you understand what I have said, what the diagnostician has seen is your children's problem or learning problem? So language, definition, very important.
My name is Tania Alvarez. I am an information and referral specialist at Paso Norte Children's Development Center, and I'm also a mom of a 16-year-old who has ADHD. So I have been working with families with children with special needs since 10 years ago. Well, I have seen a lot of difficulties in our community when parents go to the ARD meetings, since most of the times the parents are not familiar with the language that they talk. Sometimes they tell you you're going to go to an ARD and we're going to review the IEP and we might think about a BIP. So parents usually get lost. It doesn't matter if you speak English or no English at all, but sometimes what we have seen is that there's like a barrier for parents, and sometimes they might get intimidated because it's not easy to be there with the principal, the diagnostician, all of the school staff that are going to be talking about your child. So sometimes the parent, they just receive a diagnosis, so they're not even familiar with the diagnosis. In my case, when they told me your child has PDD, I was like, what is PDD? Pervasive developmental disorder. But I didn't know that it was under the spectrum of the autism. So to me, it was very difficult to learn the language, it is very difficult for a family to accept the diagnosis. So sometimes they might feel in denial, or they might feel angry, or they might feel not accepting. Plus they need to be there and they feel intimidated by all of the stuff, and especially because they don't see themselves as part of the team. And it's very important that we have to work as a team. Everyone in the school, the diagnostician, the counselor, the speech therapist, the occupational therapist, the teacher, regular teacher, special education teacher, we need to have those bridges between us. It is very important to work together. So what we do here, when I got the diagnosis of my child, I came to Paso del Norte, and I noticed that there's a lot of programs, good programs in the community. And we really want to help those parents to get familiar with the journey to have a child with a disability. And we know that it's very difficult, and it's a challenge, yes, but we truly believe that knowledge will give you the power. And the more you know, the more prepared you're going to be to advocate for your children. So one of the programs that we have here at Paso del Norte is the Academy for Families. We have 3 different academies, one for children with ADHD, one for children with autism, and the other one is for children with any other disability, and we call them Parent as Leaders. Why? Because we're going to give them, during 8 weeks, different topics. Every time that they come, they will learn the diagnosis, the special education process. So we explain to parents that everything is a process, because sometimes also as a parent, you can go to school and say, I want my child to be evaluated but by tomorrow. And we have to teach parents also that there's a process and they have timelines. And it's not like I want things and I want it now. No. So what we want to teach parents that there's a process, and to build that assertive communication with the school. Not to be angry, but not to be passive, and to know their rights. To know that they have the right for their child to be evaluated. I hope that, they don't qualify, good. But if they do, they don't waste more time, because sometimes parents wait until he's in first, second year and he's not passing academically. And is when they start, what can we do? So, it's very important that as soon as parents start noticing things, or if the teacher tells you, it's good for them to know that there's an evaluation that can be done. During the academies, we also teach them a lot of social strategies to do at home or to do at school. We talk about accommodations in the classroom. We talk about bullying, because sometimes our children with special needs, they are very It's very common to see bullying, so we teach them how to approach that, what they need to do as a parent. And sometimes your child can be the bully, because sometimes even though they have a disability, they can be the ones who are doing bully to other kids. So those topics are very important for parents. We also talk about the diagnosis. What is the diagnosis? ADHD. And so the more parents know and understand the diagnosis, and they learn how to have more resources in the community, we give them a class, for example, for social services, so they can understand that there are more than just the school system. I mean, they can join support groups. We have a lot of conferences, workshops that they can attend, and the more connected they are, even with other parents, they can learn from each other, so they don't feel alone. That's the main point that we want to make for parents, not to feel alone, because sometimes we totally understand that when you receive the diagnosis, you don't know what to do with that, and sometimes not even your family understands. And sometimes, I don't know, grandma can tell you, oh, it's okay, he's gonna grow up, or it's un chiple. And no, I mean, we really want parents to know that there are programs. If the child is from 0 to 3 years old, we have ECI, the Early Childhood Intervention Program, and then everything is a transition. We also have case management after the age of 3. If they need case management, we can help them with programs and information. We have the Incredible Years program, which is a program for positive discipline from 0 to 5 years old. So, I mean, we really want to make sure that the parents understand that this is not the end of the world, because sometimes they might feel that it's bad for them to have a child with a disability. And no, I mean, yes, it's a different journey, yes, and sometimes you need to do more things, but there are programs and there are people who wants to help your child, and it is very important that the parents feel that they are part of the ARD committee, that they are the experts of their child, and they have to have that connection with the teachers and that communication.
Love God, it means to obey His commands. Deeper with God, I'm going deeper with God. I want to go deeper with God. I'm going deeper with God. Going deeper when I pray, going deeper, that's the way. We trust the Lord completely. We love Him, can't you see? We know and will obey Him. Won't you come along with me? Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. I will never be the same. I'll trust in Jesus' holy name. I'll obey with all I do, and I pray the same for you. Dear